Surely is a good business to be in this summer. The climate correct, the customers keen. But good sales numbers alone are no longer enough to prosper. Inflation has made sure of that.
This is our factory, this is where all the secret stuff happens.
This business keeps its own cows, produces its own milk, and manufactures the product on site. Its input costs are multiple and mounting.
Cost of inputs on the farm, cost of diesel, cost of fertiliser, cost of winter feed. It's mostly electric, so you have to keep ice cream cold, right? So it's mostly freezer costs, and that's kind of gone through the roof, and don't really know where it's going to stop. I think best case is that it stabilises. At least you know what you're working with. If you can measure it, you can kind of manage it. Whereas if you don't know, it's just the fear of it's just going to go on and on.
Inflation is now in double digits, the highest in 40 years. And the key driver this time, the cost of food. Things are so bad, the supermarket Iceland has started offering interest-free microloans to help people afford just the bare essentials. The boss says things are set to get worse.
It's going to be an interesting 6 months ahead, compounded by the fact we have a drought, which is going to affect future crop yields. The war in Ukraine is not helping because it's the breadbasket of Europe. So there is a maelstrom of different pressures. I think it's important for every business to accept the fact they're going to have lower profits to help society to get through this.
While it appears the price of some commodities have peaked, energy has not, and that's the fear. The fact that food costs, the price of really everyday staples, have risen as much as they have is a sign of just how unavoidable this crisis has become. And the really scary thing is that we might end up looking back at this moment as something of a calm before the storm. Energy bills are set to skyrocket this autumn. A recession is forecast. It has the makings of a really serious economic crisis. All eyes then on what the government will do. A visit to a holiday camp, some say, all show and no substance. But the Chancellor insists more help is coming.
We prepare all the options ready for the incoming Prime Minister on the 5th September to hit the ground running of what more we can do, whether it is the green levies that we need to remove to help with those energy bills, cutting taxes.
But here they say it may not be enough. Food banks should be the safety net, but prices and paranoia have hit even their ability to help.
Here you can see fish. Here you can see meat. That looks a lot. Normally, we'd be out here and about this high.
Oh, really? So
and
significantly
this is quite
less?
good, based on the last few weeks, because we've had to buy food in.
Wow. So really a lot less than what you would normally have?
Yeah.
Showing that it's hitting everyone, right?
Yeah.
All praises, infinite honor and glory be to Yahweh, Ba'ashem Yahushai, Ba'ashem Rakah, HaKwadash. Double honor to the elder apostles of Great Millstone. Peace, love, blessings, and salutations to the hopeful elect, Habayath, Madavadah, the house of David, the brothers laboring day in and day out to make the call of election sure, help us seal the elect of the nation of Israel, and to the Akim Wa'akwath who listen and believe on the glorious gospel of Hamashiach Yahushai, Allah Yahweh, unto you, I say shalom. So shalom to the hopeful elect. We'll jump right into it through the Spirit. Lord willing, this is edifying. This won't be a long lesson. Just play the video. The premise of this lesson is come from the video. And what we heard in that particular video we just watched, we heard a few terms, and I wanted to go over them, and two of the terms we heard about was microloans and microcredit. So this is microcredit, and this is important because it explains kind of where we are today as far as how close we are, in the world, not just here in Babylon, which is America, but in the world, how close we are to the crash and to, this NWO. And that's just based off of the finances and economics, right? The system of commerce and capitalism, is about to be replaced. So this term microcredit here says microcredit is the extension of very small loans, microloans. It says to impoverished borrowers who typically lack collateral, steady employment, or verifiable credit history. So a lot of people are living at the poverty line and they don't have steady employment or collateral, it says, or credit. And we know we're going to get into credit here in a second because this crushing inflation has led to more people, having problems with credit. More credit is being used. So when we have this microcredit, it explains more of the issues that's going on, which are all, the economic issues that will be in the last days. That's going to eventually push forth this MOTB, and the CBDC is part of doing that, the central bank digital currency. Now, as we continue on, it says it is designed to support entrepreneurship and alleviate poverty. Many recipients are illiterate. So a lot of people that receive this microcredit, they don't know what's going on. Now, let's continue to read. And therefore, unable to complete paperwork required to get conventional loans. As of 2009, an estimated 74 million people held microloans that totaled $38 billion. Now, it goes on to say microcredit is part of the microfinance, which provides a wider range of financial services, especially savings accounts, to the poor. Modern microcredit is generally considered to have originated, it says, with the Grameen Bank, founded in Bangladesh in 1983. Many traditional banks subsequently introduced microcredit despite initial misgivings. The United States declared 2005 the International Year of Microcredit. So since 2005, there's been a push. Now, fast forward all the way to now, in 2022, 17 years, microcredit is on a whole nother level. I'm going to give an example of that here in a second. It says, as of 2012, microcredit is widely used in developing countries and is presented as having enormous potential as a tool for poverty alleviation. Microcredit is a tool that can be helpful to possibly reduce, it says, feminization of poverty in developing countries. A lot of women are impoverished because this debt-based system, and feminism, has taken off in the world in the last 20 plus years, the last 20 to 30 years, more so than any time, in human history. So a lot of women living alone, and a lot of them are finding themselves, in these times, without, the ability to be able to take care of themselves. And that's going to continue on. As it says, making reference to our women in Isaiah the 32nd chapter, rise up, ye women that are at ease. But now the point is, so this is microcredit, which really, let's see, microcredit, we pretty much touched on the point. So the point was, and is, the fact that, Salakia, the fact that we are at a place now where this system is crashing. And let's show that. This is the book of Habakkuk 2, in verse 5. It says, yea, also because he, speaking of Esau, Edom, the wicked, transgresseth by wine. So the wickedness he does on the earth, his transgressions, is by his wine, which are the philosophies, when you read in Revelation, the 18th chapter, that Babylon gave the earth, their wine, which are the philosophies to drink. Democracy, a society that promotes a do as thou wilt culture, which is highlighted by the freedom of religion, the freedom of speech, the freedom of expression. Once again, do as thou wilt. This society, that supports the lifestyle of the nasty people, the alphabet community, that's pushed very heavily, which Babylon is known in the Bible as spiritual Sodom and Egypt. And this is the place of our oppression, which that oppression is the fact that the people in Babylon and around the world now have taken on these philosophies, which is why I did the video going into the UK, because it shows, it's a microcosm of what's going on here. So the things that's going on here are a reflection here around the world. And the UK is one of those places because that's part of the Western world, Western culture, which Western culture is failing. So now, this is Habakkuk 2 and 5. Once again, it says, yea, also because he transgresseth by wine his philosophies, he is a proud man and neither keepeth at home. Speaking of Esau, Edom. It says, who enlargeth his desire as hell. Everywhere he goes, he brings death. And is as death and cannot be satisfied, but gathereth unto him all nations and heapeth unto him all people. That's why America is known as the great melting pot. He's gathered all nations and heapeth unto himself all people. And he still goes in other lands pushing his philosophies, his wine. Now, let's continue on. Shall not all these take up a parable against him and a taunting proverb? This is going to be seeing the fall and at the fall of the Edomites, the hammer of the earth that's being cut asunder, right? He that ruled the nations with a continual stroke and in wrath. Now he's fallen. It says against him and say, woe to him, which is destruction, that increaseth that which is not his. He's taken all the resources. He's conquered all these different lands by the sword and by wickedness and deceit and fraud. It says that which is not his, how long? And to him that ladeth himself with thick clay. And let's get this thick clay. Let's get this thick clay. So he's become heavy laden with this thick clay. Now let's see what this clay is. So this is this is H5671 in the blue letter Bible. That clay is abit. It means weight of pledges, heavy debt. Thick clay, it says down here in the lexicon, a load of debt, right? An accumulation and pledges of great debt. So that's what this system is. It's a debt-based system that we are under. So underneath Esau's rulership, he's created this system, of digitizing everything, and making these pledges that he can't pay. So the earth is run by debt. You have nations that buy each other's debt. You have companies, throughout the Western world and the world, for that matter, that buy each other's debt. You have bigger banks that take over smaller banks that take all the debt and so on and so forth. So this debt-based system is about to end. This system of commerce and capitalism, which he's pushed, which is a part of his wine and philosophy as well, is almost out of here. And we see the crushing inflation. So it's led to these microloans and microcredit. Now, with microloans and microcredit on a smaller level, those are your Klarnas, the Afterpay, PayPal, Affirm. These are other, things that are set up where people go just to buy the most simplest of items. They use, these payment methods to do so, because that shows that everyone is heavily in debt. Now, I looked up some stats, and here in America, and this is almost the same for the world. The numbers are a little off with a margin of error. But here in America, 49% of Americans live primarily off debt, off credit cards. And in the Western world, that's pretty much, a mirror. So pretty much the majority of the Western world and a little bit of a smaller portion, about 40+%, lives in debt. But half here, 49% is pretty much half. Showing you that this system can't continue on because those numbers continue to grow. And when you go into different, sectors of, this economic system, when you go into Generation Z and you go into the millennials and then the baby boomers, those numbers go down. But as you go, Generation Z is the highest, right? The millennials, it still stays pretty steady, closer to that half mark. And it shows you that this world is run by debt. And it's been done on purpose because this is how, once again, that central bank digital currency, that new system, which is the NWO, the MOTB, is going to be pushed onto the world. So all of this is purpose by design. So now, as we continue on, I want to get this word, because when it says that he transgresses by wine, and he heapeth unto him all people, that transgressing by wine is getting to the fact that he's given his philosophy to the world and has destroyed the world, which is why it says in Revelation 18, the nations are mad. The nations are mad because they've been destroyed, by his wickedness, by his wicked philosophies. That's destroyed the world. Now let's get the word heir. I want to get the word heir, and that goes line in line, and it goes hand in hand with, the philosophies. His philosophies cause all the nations to be drunk, which means it's causing all of them to go astray. Now, when you look up the word err, it's H8582. To err, it means to wander, to go astray, to stagger. It means to be drunken. Once again, the whole earth is drunken with the wine of Babylon, to wander about, of intoxication, of sin. It says ethically, so your ethics cause you to sin, meaning to live wickedly, which gets also into evil doing. It's causing you jakes to sin and causing the world just to go off, to be in a state of iniquity, heavy iniquity, perpetual iniquity, wandering of the mind, to be made to wander about, to be a drunkard. So this earth is drunken, to be led astray. And it goes into ethics and morals. It says to cause to wonder, of intoxication, to cause to err, to mislead mentally and morally. So that's what the wine of Babylon has done to the earth. And that's through, this system. So that thick clay, the heavy debt that the whole earth is in and under, that's causing the world to go, completely to hell. Everything is falling apart because his way of governance doesn't work. Now let's show that. And let's go right to the point. Zephaniah 1 and verse 10. And it reads, and it shall come to pass in that day. And what day is that? The last days. And we are in the last days. Saith Yahweh, that there shall be the noise of a cry from the fish gate, and an howling from the second, and a great crashing from the hill. So there's another great crash that's coming to the earth. There was a great crashing, going back to the 1930s. There's a great economic crash, and there's another one coming. It says from the second, right? So this system is going to be destroyed. That's the point. This system that Esau set up is being destroyed before our very eyes. So this thick clay, this crushing inflation has led to microloans and microcredit, which once again has led to, all of these different companies now that's popping up, Affirm, PayPal, Klarna, Afterpay, because people can't pay for the most simplest of things because they're so heavily in debt under the rule of this devil. So now I'm gonna get one more. So let's go to the book of Ezekiel. We're going to close it out here in a second. Ezekiel 13. And I'm going to go to the point. Ezekiel 13, and let's just go to verse 10. It says, because they have seduced my people, so the Israelites have been seduced here in Babylon. Seduced by the ways, of this devil. Seduced by the whore. Babylon is known as a whore. So our people have been seduced by the whore. My people saying peace, and there was no peace. So there's no peace coming to this place. It's not going back to 2019. There's not going to be any way to heal Babylon. Babylon can't be healed. You got the monkey business going on. You still got the Crown 19. Although they say it's declining, and you got other pestilences that's going to come, and other major economic problems that we're seeing that's brewing, and ultimately you got the push for this new system that's coming in, right? This new system of governance, the CHIP. Now, so there won't be no peace coming to this place. The scripture said there won't be no peace coming to the wicked. And one built up a wall, so this could be symbolic of Babylon, right? And it says, and lo, others dabbed it with untempered mortar, right? So this wall is not going to be able to stand. It's not reinforced enough to be able to withstand, the storm that's coming as you continue to read. But I don't want to read the whole thing down. I just want to get the point. So the untempered mortar is what we see. That's what this system is like. And in Babylon, it's like that, right? It's like this. It's like the untempered mortar. So, let's see if I can get this. Salakia. Let me go to, let me go back. Because that untempered mortar that wall is going to fall. So let's go back to the precept I just had. Let's go back to Zephaniah 1. Let's do that and make this point in the spirit. So it's back in Zephaniah 1, when you go to verse 10, we read Zephaniah 1 and 10, it shall come to pass in that day, saith Yahweh, that there shall be the noise of a cry from the fish gate, and an howling from the second, and a great crashing from the hills. And that great crashing from the hills. Let's get that. The word crashing, Salakia, and then we'll close it out after that. H7667. So that untempered mortar, which can be likened unto Babylon, its system of governance is breaking, is falling, right? It's not going to be able to be reinforced against the storm the Most High is bringing. It says breaking, to fracture, crushing, to breach, to crash, to ruin, shattering. Everything is being destroyed here. Breaking and worldwide, fracture, shattering, crushing. It says to tear down. Now let's go down here to the lexicon. It says to hurt, affliction. So heavy affliction is coming to this place. Vexation, bruise, breaking. Babylon can't be healed. Now let's get it in a lexicon. It says a breaking, a breach, a fracture of a wall. So that's the system, can be likened to the system, the breaking, i.e. It says destruction of a kingdom. So this breaking, here in the lexicon, it says the destruction of a kingdom. So this kingdom is being destroyed. This wall with untempered mortar is falling, right? Which can be likened and attributed unto Babylon. So with that, I hope that was edifying. I want to give all praises, infinite honor and glory to Yahweh, Ba'ashem Yahushai, Ba'ashem Rakakwadash, double honor to the elder apostles of Great Millstone. Peace, love, blessings, and salutations to the hopeful elect. Habayah from Adawadah, and to you, Akim and Akwath, who listen and believe on the glorious gospel of Hamashiach Yahushai, Allah Yahweh, Yahweh, Yahushai, unto you. I say shalom. Shalom to the hopeful elect.